Year 6 and welcome to Wednesday's maths lesson. A big well done for yesterday's work. There was a lot of information to take in, a lot of activities to do, and you did a brilliant job, so well done. We haven't really touched on angles very much so far this year, and you did a really good job, so well done. And thank you to all of you that completed the Kahoot quiz too. Some really, really good scores there, so well done. So today, to get our brains warmed up, we're going to play Countdown. So some of you might have seen this show on television, and some of you might not. But it is a game. There's a link here to go onto it, which I'll send to you on Marvelous Me. And it'll bring you up with a game here. And what you've got to do is choose 6 cards. So there's some bigger numbers here, these 4 here, and then there's some here. So I'm going to choose 6. So I'll choose 2 from the top and 4 from the bottom. And then I've got to generate a target. So I'm going to have a target number here, thinking about it now. So my target number is 350. So I've got to use these numbers here to make 350. So, and I could do, so I've got 50. So I wonder how many 50s make 350. So 6. Oh, so I could do 50 multiplied by 7 because 5 times 7 is 35. Put my 0 back on and I've got my target number. Okay, so then I could have another little go. So I could reset my cards. I'm going to choose 3 from the top, 3 from the bottom this time. Generate my target. Oh, it's having a really good think about this one. Maybe it's a tricky one. So I've got to make 300 this time. So let me think. So I could do 100 multiplied by 4. That would get me 400. Oh, then what could I do? Oh, then I could do 100 multiplied by 4. That gets me to 400. Then I could take away 75. That gets me to 325. And then I could take away this other 25, and that would get me to 300. So I'd like you to have a few little goes of this game to get your brain going. It also tells you here at the bottom that it's possible to make using 2 cards. So I could have done it just by using 2 cards then. I used 4. I did 100 times by 4. And then I did take away, I could do 75, add 25. So that's another 2 cards and take it away to get 300. See if you can do some different combinations. So have a few little goes of that before you get started. Okay? So have a pause of the video now and have a go of your games. So you should have had a few little games on that. Your brain should be all thinking mathematically now. So today's learning then, we are carrying on with angles and we've got to use a lot of the learning from yesterday and apply it today. So we are going to be still calculating angles. All of our work today is out of the Year 6 workbook. So it's page 34, just section 2 because we did the other sections yesterday, and all of page 35 we are going to do today. So I will just show you. So page 34 is just this one that we didn't do yesterday, and then all of page 35. So there's a few little rules that I need you to remember today. So a few different ones I want to introduce, but also remembering the learning you did yesterday. So the first thing I want to look at is some rules with angles. Okay, so when you have a diagram, like the one that you've got on page 34, you've got to work out what all of these angles are, A, B, C, D, and E. You've got to work them all out. Now, some of them won't need any calculating, okay, because there's some rules with angles. So, if you've got an angle like this Z1, okay, so this is a Z1, then this angle and this angle will be exactly the same. So if you've been told that this angle is something like 65, then that one will be 65 as well. So that won't need any calculating. Similarly, alternate angles as well. So if you've got something that looks like this, and you've got one here and here, like another Z angle, look, this one's a Z as well, then these two will be the same. So if this one was 120, that one would be 120 as well. So some other rules then with angles. So you've got an F angle here. So these are called corresponding angles. That would be the same and that would be the same. So again, if this was 120, that would be 122. And then you've got another F angle here. So here and here, they would be the same. So you're going to need to use that rule today. Okay? Now, I want you to have a little think now, and you might pause the video before I tell you the answer. I want you to think about, if you have a triangle, can you remember what the angles in the triangle add up to? And if you have a straight line, like this maybe, what would all of the angles add up to? So have a little pause, have a little think. In your head, you might want to jot it down before I tell you the answer. So if you have an angle, all the angles here in the triangle, what would they add up to? And what would all of these angles add up to? Okay, so hopefully you've remembered that all the angles in a triangle and all the angles on a straight line add up to 180. Okay, what about then if you had something like this to work out? So if you had all of these angles here, what would they add up to? Have a little think. Okay, so you should have remembered that all the angles round a point or a full turn are 360 degrees. Okay, so that is all of the knowledge that you need for today. You need this knowledge, the new knowledge that I've told you about opposite angles here, alternate and corresponding. You need to remember that angles in a triangle add up to 180, and so do angles on a straight line. And you also need to remember that angles round a point add up to 360. Okay, so all of that knowledge from yesterday you are going to need today. So I'm just going to show you a couple of the questions that you might find a little tricky to help you today. So this isn't one of yours from today, but this is a similar sort of thing. You've got to use your reasoning skills today. So all of the knowledge you know, you've got to think, what do I need to answer this question? So I've got to find out what angle P is here. So you'll see here you've got some opposites. So those two are the same. So 50, so this one's 50 and this one's 50. Now there's something that I know about this one that will help me today. Have a think, what do I know about this angle here? So it doesn't tell me what it is, but I know what it is. Anybody think? Right, so it's a right angle. That's when the two lines come together to make an exact square. And right angles are 90 degrees. Okay, so I know that this one's 50, this one's 50, and that one's 90. And I need to work that one out. I also know that they are round a point. Have a think. What do the angles round a point add up to? So you should have remembered 360 degrees. Okay, so my first job is to add these together. So 50 and 50 I know is 100, add 90 is 190. So now I know that bit, I can take it away from 360, and that will give me, so 6 take away 9 I can't do, so 16 take away 9 would be 7, and then 2 take away 1 is 1. So this one would be 170 degrees. So can you see how I've used my knowledge of angles around a point? I've known about right angles, and I've used my knowledge to answer the reasoning question. Okay, so this is the one that you have got on page 34. It looks just like this. I've taken a picture of it. And you've got to work out all of these angles. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips to help you work it out. So you might want to do it as we go along. So straight away, I can see an opposite angle in here. So this one is opposite to this one. Okay, so I know that those two are going to be the same. Okay, so E and O is going to be the same as the one it is opposite to. Okay, it's also, if you remember, one of these Z angles here. Okay, so C is also going to be the same. Okay, now B here is in a triangle, and you already know that one and that one. So all you've got to remember here is, what do the angles in a triangle add up to? Okay, and take them away from, so add those together and take them away from the number that adds up to a triangle. I don't want to tell you what it is. Okay, then to work out D, you already know what E is, and you already know what this one is here. Now they are on a straight line, so have a think. What do angles on a straight line add up to? Once you've worked out either A or D, they are both the same because they are opposites. Okay, so that's to help you work that one out. So remember, these purple ones that I have circled are all going to be the same, okay, because they are either opposites or they are on this Z. Okay, this one's a triangle, this one's a straight line. So use all of that knowledge. So the second one that I'm going to look at with you to give you some tips on is this one. This one's on page 35. Okay, so again, you've got to work out A, B, C, and D. Okay, so this one then, so A is opposite this one. So you've got an opposites one again. Okay, so there's your opposites. You also know what this one is. It's a right angle. So here, once you've worked out A, that's a triangle. So you can work out D as well. Okay, so you've worked out A, and you know that that one's 90, and it's a triangle, so you can work out D. Okay, so then, to work out this one then, you need to know that little bit there. Now that's opposite to that one. Okay, so those two, well, I'll use a different colour there. Those two are going to be the same. That one and that one are going to be the same. Once you know that one, these ones are on a straight line. And then you just need to use your knowledge of angles on a straight line to help you with that one. Okay, and then once you know C, you can do B because they are opposite each other. So C and B will be the same as well. Okay, so D, you work out because you know a triangle. A, you've got opposites. This one and this little section here are the same because they are opposite, and that will help you. Okay, those ones do need you to use lots and lots of thinking. Okay, try not to get frustrated. Try and use the rules that you know. Okay, so just really quickly then, I'm just going to go to the book. So this top one is triangles. So you know two of the angles, so you should be able to work the third one out because you know what a triangle adds up to. Triangles add up to 180. These ones are rounded points. Okay, so you should know what they add up to. So remember, it's all rounded points. And this one is 3 angles of a quadrilateral. You've got to find the missing one. Okay, so a quadrilateral, they all add up to 360 as well. We talked about that yesterday. Okay, now I know that it is lots of thinking again. You've got all the knowledge. If you need to go back and pause the video at different points to help you, then do that as well. You might find yesterday's video useful too. Okay, so I know angles work can be a little bit mind-blowing, but you've got all the maths up there. It's just finding out which bits that you need. Okay, looking forward to seeing all of your work and keep it up.